Good evening, and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Brian Bridges Show. Welcome to the Brian Bridges Show, hosted by God First Christ Game Media News. Y'all, come on in for a brief moment. I have a very sad and disturbing case for you all out of Naples, Florida, that happened a day or so ago about this young man who allegedly bludgeoned his grandmother to death, you all. I said that the man busted his grandmother head in with a hammer, you all, and proceeded to hurt his grandfather also. Today I want to talk about elderly abuse and things of this nature, and people taking advantage of their grandparents. You know, people that actually take advantage of their grandparents are some very crazy people, if you ask me, you all. Because in our community, the black community, this is something that would never occur. This is something that I would had never done under any circumstances to my grandparents, you all. Like I said, this is very sad because we have a lot of individuals who actually take advantage of the elderly, you know, mistreat them, abuse them, things of this nature, all for their finances, you all. Mind you, when your grandparents are getting to a certain age, they need to be somewhere in their own, the comforts of their own home, you all. And like I said, it's a very sad case because from what we understand from the neighbors, that these grandparents was very good to this young man, you all. And again, this young man was released from prison maybe a year or so ago, you all. Very sad case, very sad thing to do to your grandparents, you all. Again, this is a very disturbing case, you all. I have the news article and the news clip that I'm going to read with you all, as I do always, and there will be a link in the description below where you all can follow along if you choose to, you all. You know, like I said, man, it's a very, very sad thing to do. You know, I see a lot of people from other different ethnic groups that actually disrespect their grandparents, and some of them disrespect their own parents to the fullest. You all, but you know, we have these different sets of groups of people that are raised with no kind of respect. To have no respect for your grandparents is a very sorry thing to do. You know, it's not something that you should engage in, you know, especially when you are thinking about or considering robbing your own grandparents, things of this nature, you all. Again, I'm going to read this news article to you all and hope that you all are able to get some better understanding about this particular case. But this man proceeded to, after he had assaulted his grandmother, killed her, might I say, allegedly, this man proceeded to try to clean up the crime scene, you all. You know, he did roll his grandmother up in the torch, things of this nature, and was a very sad thing to see and to actually read and to actually hear about you all. But again, I want to come on and share this with you all and talk about if you know somebody out there who may be engaging in elderly abuse, then I suggest you turn these people in or call the adult protection services, you all. Again, I may have time to put a link in the description on the adult protective services, but if I do not, I do have uh, an elderly abuse hotline number that I will be playing at the end of this segment, you all. Again, before I get off into this particular news article, copyright disclaimer under Title 17 USC Section 107, allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships, and research. Fair use is permitted by the copyright statute and might otherwise be infringed. Non-profit, education, and personal use tips to balance in favor of fair use. Tips to balance in favor of fair use, you all. So again, before I read this news article, let me give me a drink of this water, y'all. But again, this case happened out of Florida. So again, it was a very sad case, And like I said, I'm aware that there's a lot of people out there that have no consideration or respect for their grandparents. So this is one very touching story to me, you all, because I was a young man that actually adored my grandmother. I thought my grandmother was the strongest woman in the world. I mean, man, just a beautiful soul and a beautiful spirit. I wish there was a lot of people out there that had actually had a chance to meet her, you all. But this particular woman was my world, you all. So again, mad respect to grandparents out there and condolences to Miss Mary Schaivone, you all, was her name, Miss Mary Schaivone, and her husband's name was Tony. He was also assaulted, you all, but condolences go out to the family, the Schaivone family, and the other family members that may be connected to this particular story, you all. So again, it says a Florida man kills his grandmother with a hammer and then calls a maid to help him clean up the mess, you all. So this was one bizarre thing that happened in this particular case. This young man had the audacity to call a cleanup service, or which had been the maid, possibly was his grandparents' maid, so forth and so on, to actually come out and help him clean up the mess that he had made, hitting his grandmother in the head with a hammer, you all. So again, this was a very gruesome and sad story. So again, man, I just you know uh, my deepest sympathy and condolences go out to Miss Mary, you all, and Mr. Tony Scantry, who was later rushed to the hospital. And I'm pretty sure that this man is in intensive care, struggling and fighting for his own life, you all. Because mind you, uh, as an adult, the older you get, the harder it is for your body to actually heal, you all. You don't heal as fast as you did when you was young, and I'm pretty sure that this individual is in a lot of pain and more so hurt about the loss of his wife and even his grandson. For you to turn around, you don't expect to be murdered in life, and then you especially don't expect to be murdered by your own grandchildren, you all. So again, this was a very sad story, and I kind of want to share it with everybody. So again, that if you know or aware of anyone that is taking advantage of someone that is elderly in your community or in your family, I suggest you have some kind of conversation with this individual so you all can come to some kind of resolution, you all. Because again, there's no way that this young man should have been even staying with his grandparents, let alone I'm pretty sure that he was probably trying to entice his grandmother for some money. Could have been possibly for his drug addiction or anything, you all. I'm not aware of that particular portion of the story, but this is a very sad story to share today, you all. So again, it said a Florida man who allegedly beat his grandmother to death with a hammer was caught after asking the housekeeper to clean up the bloody crime scene, you all. So again, this was crazy for this man to think that someone that was associated to him or anybody would actually come along and help him clean up a whole crime scene. You hit somebody with a hammer. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it was blood all over there. From the story, the news article, and the news clip, they said that this man was full of blood, you all. So again, it was a very sad thing. It said Anthony Michael Cordo 34, is accused of attacking an 82-year-old woman, you all, and severely beating his grandmother inside a Naples gated community on Wednesday, you all. So again, if you all happen to pretty much see this, it was a very nice community, a very nice neighborhood, one of the upper end neighborhoods in this Florida area, you all. And again, I'm pretty sure that his grandparents may have been well off or of middle class standing, you all. So again, it's just my perception that he was probably there asking his grandparents for money. You know, his grandfather had taken a trip to the corner store to retrieve some groceries, and in the meantime, in between time, this man had the audacity to hit his grandmother in the head. You all. So again, I don't know what made the man snap and do such a thing, but this was something that he had done. With no regrets, you all, might I say. It said the grandmother had an active order of protection against Cardo, which I don't know why she would have had an order of protection against him. Maybe he had threatened her at one time previously before, you all had to be. So it said, who was released from prison last year for a prior violent history, you all. It said after allegedly bludgeoning his grandmother, uh, Anthony called his housekeeper around 2 p.m. to help him clean up a real mess inside the Golden Gate Estate, you all home, according to arrest affidavit. It said a blood-soaked Anthony reportedly led her through the blood-spotted home to a bedroom where his grandmother mutilated corpse laid wrapped in a tarp, you all. So again, he had called the maid, you all. And this was the maid. I'm not sure if she was the cleaning service or how long she had been with this particular family, but she was actually a maid, you all. So you know, I'm pretty sure she freaked out, you know. But she did try to take the bag off the grandmother's head to kind of give her some air and things of this nature. But at this moment in time, she was already dead. It said she also had a bag wrapped around her head. When the housekeeper tried to remove it, Anthony allegedly stopped her and said it would get blood everywhere if she took off this particular bag, you all. So it said the man then allegedly asked her to take the body out of the home, you all. They said the housekeeper tried to convince Anthony to call the police, but he repeatedly refused, stating, I'll go back to prison, you all. So it said uh, under the groups of retrieving cleaning supplies from her car, the housekeeper escaped the bloody scene and flagged down the local sheriff deputy, you all. So again, it said during the time Anthony allegedly unleashed a renewed violence on his grandfather, who had returned from a trip to the grocery store. So, you know, again, the nurse went out to retrieve clean supplies from her vehicle. What she allegedly told him is that she was going to get the clean supplies. So during the time that she was actually get the clean supplies, I don't know how she didn't see the grandfather pulling up, but she had pretty much ran down the street, you all, and was trying to scream for help. It said the police found a brutalized man in another room in the house, wrapped in a blanket and severe head injuries, you all. It said he was flown to the hospital in Fort Myers and is expected to survive. Amen on that. It said deputies found a bloody hammer in the kitchen countertop, and blood was sprayed on the walls and the floor of the home. It said Anthony was discovered standing outside of the home, covered in blood from head to toe, and the affidavit said splatter was on his shirt, his shoes, his boots, and both of his shins, and also his forehead, you all. It said the alleged killer refused to talk to the cops. He was arrested and charged with second-degree murder and aggravated battery on a person over the age of 65, you all. And I don't know how this is not a first-degree murder, or why it will particularly be a second degree murder, but I definitely believe that this is a first degree murder charge, you all. It said police said that they had not revealed the motive of the savage crime, you all. So again, this was very savage and gruesome, a demonic action, if you ask me, you all. Very sad thing, man, and very stupid, might not say insane, to do to your own grandparents or any grandparents out there, for that matter, you all. Grandparents are the most special people in this world. I couldn't imagine me or none of my family members coming up with me at this particular time, whether it was cousins or whoever it may be, to actually come around and disrespect our grandparents in a manner such as this, you all. Again, this was sad and gruesome. I do have a news clip that I can briefly share with you all on this particular incident. And again, man, if you know anyone out there that is abusing an elderly person, you all, then I suggest you all turn them in. If you can't resort a manner yourself, call the adult protective services, and they will send somebody out to kind of do a welfare check on these uh, people, you all. So again, man, very sad thing. So I'm gonna share the news clip with you all. One moment as I pulled it up. Grandparents is horrific. He's a monster. A Collier County man is accused of bludgeoning his own grandmother to death. What's happened with his grandparents is horrific. He's a monster. A Collier County man is accused of bludgeoning his own grandmother to death and putting his grandfather in the ICU. Deputies say Anthony Corrado even called a housekeeper to clean up the crime scene. Thank you for watching NBC2. I'm Peter Bush.
And I'm Kelly Burns. Deputies found the grandparents wrapped up in tarps and sheets inside their home on 16th Avenue Northeast in Golden Gate Estates yesterday. Tonight, our Ryan Arbogast is live outside the courthouse where Corrado just made his first appearance.
Kelly, Peter, Corrado was found outside of his home when deputies say that he refused to speak and he was covered in blood. And we want to warn you, what you're about to watch is graphic.
I'm going to hold Mr. Corrado no bond.
A judge decided this accused murderer isn't getting out of jail anytime soon. Collier County deputies tell us Anthony Corrado killed his own grandmother and roommate Mary Schaivone in cold blood and sent his grandfather Tony to the ICU by smashing their heads in with a hammer yesterday afternoon.
Whatever's happened with his grandparents is horrific. They're so nice to him.
You are watching Corrado's arrest through the lens of a terrified neighbor's iPhone, put into cuffs outside of his home along 16th Street Northeast in Golden Gate Estates. Deputies tell us Corrado was caught after calling his maid to help clean up a big mess, and then trying to get her to assist in dumping what he assumed was two bodies. She ran and flagged down a deputy on a nearby street. This afternoon, only NBC2 caught two people in hazmat suits cleaning out the home's garage where the bodies could have been moved to be put in Corrado's car.
He shouldn't be out walking the streets with, normal people. He's just a nuisance to society.
And again, you are very sad case, very sad thing, to see and even hear, again, this happened in a lot of groups, I can't just say that it happened in white communities, Hispanic communities, so forth and so on, but it also has happened in our black community also, you all. So again, it's a very sad thing to see anyone take advantage of anyone in the elderly state. You know, some of these people have lived so long, have done so much for our lives. You know, the fact of grandparents is that none of us would be here if it wasn't for these individuals. You know, if it wasn't for them not giving up on their own children to actually have other children, you all. So again, it's a very sad thing for anyone to do. And if you know of anybody out there or that is abusing anyone elderly, whether they're taking their finances, beating them up, so forth and so on, then you all can call the Adult Protective Services. God first, Christ gang. Peace. Y'all have a blessed and happy Saturday. Thank you.